This week, we examine some of the effects of variation in state development, particularly in how state institutions shape a country's economy. In this video, I'm going to outline some of the tools that states can use to promote economic development, or elite self-interest in worst-case scenarios. I'll discuss the basic tools used in monetary and trade policy, industrial policy, and social spending, with the goal of familiarizing you with commonly used terms and ideas. States have a wide range of tools they can use to manage their economies and promote economic prosperity. First, states print money, and they manage the money supply through central banks. Increasing the money supply by lowering the interest rate on loans or by printing more money can boost consumer spending, but it also contributes to inflation or rising prices. States also manage fiscal policy through the international exchange rate. While the United States lets the value of the dollar float freely in international markets, some states will set the value of their currency at a specific rate. For example, the Chinese yuan was for many years pegged to the US dollar. Until 2005, 1 yuan was worth just over 8 cents. In 2005, it introduced bans, allowing the exchange rate to float within a few percentage points of the US dollar. Countries interested in promoting exports can keep their exchange rates artificially low. This makes the price of goods produced in that country lower than the price of the same goods in other countries. This is something that many developmental states, including South Korea and Japan, did to promote domestic industries. And it's also what the United States accused China of doing in 2019, manipulating financial markets to artificially lower the value of the yuan. Countries can also promote domestic industries through trade policies. They can place tariffs on imports, making foreign goods more expensive, as President Trump has done on steel and other goods. The risk, though, is that countries will retaliate with their own tariffs, as China has done, and the World Trade Organization was established to mediate these types of disputes and facilitate the mutual reduction of tariffs. Another important aspect of trade policy is the regulation of foreign investment. Many countries pass laws limiting foreign ownership of domestic companies. For example, India almost completely banned foreign direct investment, or FDI, until 1991, and then limited foreign ownership in certain sectors to 49% joint ownership. It has liberalized restrictions since then, but much foreign investment still requires government approval. Looking at domestic policy, states can choose to support certain companies or sectors through tax breaks and subsidies. For example, the United States has encouraged innovation in and adoption of solar and wind technologies through tax breaks. Many European countries have adopted carbon taxes to discourage the use of fossil fuels. Subsidies, on the other hand, are direct payments to companies. For example, the United States pays farmers to plant corn. Sometimes states will consider a sector of the economy to be of such strategic value that they will nationalize it. They'll take over ownership directly. For example, in 2007, Hugo Chavez nationalized Venezuela's oil industry, followed by the cement industry and others. On the other hand, when countries sell state-owned companies, it's called privatization. Well-managed privatization can introduce competition into a sector, but more often privatization leads to the development of crony capitalism. For example, privatization in Russia in the 1990s involved rigged auctions and led to valuable state assets going into the hands of around 15 oligarchs. Finally, states can promote economic development by supporting social development. Improving infrastructure, such as roads and transit, facilitates trade and quality of life, while improving health and education helps build a skilled workforce. In countries with high levels of inequality, some governments seek to go further and redistribute resources from the rich to the poor. The most common way to do this historically has been through land reform. For example, most states in Latin America redistributed land from large estate holders, some of which had been U.S.-owned companies like the United Fruit Company, to smaller farmers, with mixed results. Other countries, like Iran, direct money from state-owned oil companies to cash payments to citizens, and then use subsidies to keep food prices low. These are just a few of the tools states use to manage their economies. The intention here is to clarify our discussion of how state institutions shape economic development. All of these tools have advantages and disadvantages, and the choice between them ultimately depends on a state's ability to implement them, its capacity, as well as its ideology or policy goals.